Hi everyone, welcome back to She is Loki Budgets. So it was brought to my attention that in my previous videos I showed you an alternate way of making extra payment towards your debt using games and challenges. I also introduced an adorable theme you can use to make savings more fun, but we never spoke about how to get started. So as I'm sure you can already tell, saving money using the cash stuffing method is very unique as much as it is fun. But how does one actually begin this journey? Well, first and foremost, before the games, before the binders, the one thing that you absolutely need is the right mindset. This cash stuffing method is not magic. This has to be a decision you want to make to better your finances. It can be anything. Maybe you're behind in mortgage, rent, bills, or maybe you want to get started saving towards an emergency fund, putting money towards your kids' college tuition, paying off debt, or something as fun like taking your family on a vacation. Everyone's story is different, but we all want to make a change. And my story is no different. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself, a little bit about my childhood growing up. I had an amazing one. I have two amazing parents, I have an amazing sister, and I love my family to death. But most of my life I grew up with that saying, you're not going to be buried with your money, so you might as well enjoy it while you're alive and breathing. See, the problem is I took that quote and I ran with it. It became my justification for all of my overspending and unnecessary spending. So by the time I was 27 years old, I had 8 department store credit cards, 3 major credit cards. I ordered out almost every night. My balances were so high that my interest rates were through the roof. It reached to the point where I was only able to afford making the minimum payments. So finally, I took out a loan. And with the loan, I was able to pay out most of my debt, but I still had 2 credit cards that I still had to pay out. So now I had to figure out how to pay for my 2 credit cards and a loan. Now, currently, I am almost 34 years old, and I'm proud to say that I've almost finished paying off my loan, and I have 1 credit card left. The thing is, that credit card, that balance is $12,000. Yeah, I know. It's pretty high, but believe it or not, it started out at $16,000. So I didn't know about the cash stuffing method back in the day. I used a method called the avalanche method to pay off my first credit card, the one that I had left over of the 2. Now, I know most of you guys know what the snowball method is, which is where you prioritize paying off your smaller debt. You put more than your minimum towards that. Your goal is to slowly pay off the smaller debt and then eventually reach up to the ones that are larger. Now, the avalanche method prioritizes you paying off your cards or whatever it is that you need to pay for that has the highest interest rates. Now, with my loan, it was a fixed rate. It was something that I knew that I had to pay every month, and it didn't alternate depending on the interest. My 2 credit cards, however, were the highest of the 3 payments that I had to make. So I prioritized the one with the highest. I finally was able to pay it off. And now I'm on to the last one. But as I mentioned before, it's still pretty high, but we're working on it. Now, the only thing is, after, successfully being able to pay off the first credit card, and, one should be proud of yourself, which I was, but I didn't have a savings. I didn't have any money put aside for emergencies. I didn't have anything. And that's when I came across the cash stuffing method. So with the cash stuffing method, you have to look at your variable expenses and your fixed expenses. The variable expenses are like groceries, utility bills, medical bills, things that have the ability to fluctuate. The amounts fluctuate depending on how much you use it, or how often you pay for these things. Fixed expenses are rent, mortgage, car payments, subscriptions, amounts that don't really change. They're a set amount all the time. And now, after calculating those 2 expenses, you have what's left over. Now, what's left over is given a purpose. and that's what we use to put towards our sinking funds. Now, sinking funds are like a small amount of money set aside for a larger purchase that will happen throughout the year. The idea is that if you set aside small amounts of money throughout the month, when that big purchase comes along, it won't take up all of your money. So this is what I currently use right now for my sinking funds. This beautiful binder is from Baddies and Budgets. I kind of, glammed it up a bit. I have a budget sheet that I started new so that I can start it with you guys. And these are a few of my sinking funds. I have fun, which I normally put towards having money towards like going out with my stepkids or, going out for a night of fun with the hubby. I have pet care from my cat. Household, because you're always going to have to save towards things for the house. You're always going to need paper towels, you're going to need laundry detergent, toilet paper, toothpaste, all of these things. So I like to put money away to make sure that I have something for it. Birthdays, I'm pretty sure, is self-explanatory. We all celebrate birthdays of people that we care about, and I think it's always good to put a little bit towards it so that when the birthdays actually come, you don't have to scramble to figure out if you have enough to even be able to gift something to someone. Nails is something that I try to do every month with my stepdaughter, so I always try to put some money aside so we can do it together. Beauty is for my hair products, nail products, creams, lotions, makeup, anything that eventually you're gonna have to restock on. Clothing, eventually we're going to go on vacation. Sometimes you have a party or a special occasion. At least I know I'll have some money to put towards that. Excuse me 1 second. Personal can change depending on what has to be paid. Give me 1 second. I am so sorry. All of a sudden the camera goes on and my throat is itchy and I start having coughing fits. But anywho, personal can fluctuate or not fluctuate. It'll change depending on what I need to save for the year. This year, I have to pay for my recertification as a surgical technologist. And my recertification ends this year in December. And I have to pay for these things called continuing education credits. So I want to be able to put money aside so that when it comes time for me to do these things, I have enough money. Excuse me 1 second. I'm sorry. I keep having these coughing fits. I don't know what's going on. Miscellaneous is pretty much a buffer for the rest of these categories. If I need to have a little bit of extra to be pulled so that I can pay fully for maybe something that I need, I take it out of here. Now, the thing is, as pretty as these binders are, you don't need this to get started. This isn't how I got started. I was able to purchase this after doing this method for almost 1.5 years. Originally, I'm going to show you what I used to do. So I used to take envelopes. I would buy them from the Dollar Tree. And I bedazzled all of my categories. And these are just a few examples. I don't have all of them. But it just goes to show that anybody can do this. You don't need the fancy binders. You don't need the fancy challenges. If you want to get started with it, you can just put money aside on a simple envelope and do it little by little. I used to put it all away in this little container that I also bought at the Dollar Tree. I didn't bedazzle this and I didn't really decorate it because this is where I would keep my money and I didn't want to draw attention to it. But eventually, after being able to save up some money, I was able to slowly upgrade my binders. I got something like this from Amazon. I put the little sticker on after the fact. It comes with a little calculator. Bought this separately, but I also got this from Amazon. I still haven't started it yet, by the way. So eventually, we can start this challenge together. So I just pretty much showed you how to get started and I explained you don't need the fancy binders or savings challenges to get started. If this is something you eventually want, then with time you can start saving and you can buy those things. So guys, I hope I explained it in a way that it'll help encourage you to get started. As you can see, you can start as simple as a small envelope, but before anything, you have to have the mindset to change. It's gonna take hard work, it's gonna take sacrifices, and these are all things that you will need to be able to stay motivated to get it done. And before I let you guys go, I want you to keep this in mind. If you want your growth to change, you need to change the way that you're growing. So, with that said, I hope you all have an amazing, blessed day. Please hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already, so we can continue to help one another move towards our financial freedom. Until next time, bye.